In a world overwhelmed by noise, distractions, and emotional storms, the greatest rebellion is silence. What if the path to peace wasn't outside, but deep within your own psyche? Today we walk alongside a man who explored that inner world like few others, Carl Gustav Jung. And though he was not a Stoic, his work, Shadow, Individuation, the Self, echoes the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus in ways that might surprise you. If you've ever felt lost in your own thoughts, burdened by emotion, or searching for deeper meaning, stay with us. This is not just psychology. This is the art of becoming whole. Chapter 1. Who was Carl Jung, the explorer of the soul? Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist born in 1875, but his work extends far beyond clinical therapy. Jung was a seeker, a philosopher, a spiritual psychologist. He believed that true healing came not from suppressing emotions, but from understanding them, integrating them, transforming them. To Jung, the human mind wasn't just a machine, it was a living ecosystem, full of archetypes, myths, dreams, and buried truths. And at the center of this inner world was a mission, to become whole. He called it individuation, the process of uniting the conscious self with the unconscious, the light with the shadow. It's a journey that requires courage, reflection, and radical honesty, much like the journey of the Stoics. Chapter 2. The Shadow, What We Refuse to See. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Jung's concept of the shadow is one of his most powerful contributions. The shadow is everything within us that we deny, reject, or repress. It's the anger we refuse to feel, the envy we don't admit, the fear we hide behind performance. But here's the paradox. The more we deny the shadow, the more power it gains. This is where Stoicism and Jung intersect. The Stoics taught us not to be slaves to emotion, not by ignoring feelings, but by confronting them with reason, clarity, and courage. Seneca warned that emotions, when left unchecked, can dominate our minds. Jung would agree. To integrate the shadow is not to indulge it, it is to face it, to name the fear, to admit the weakness, and in doing so, to transcend it. Chapter 3. Dreams, Symbols, and the Path Within. Jung believed that our unconscious speaks in symbols, through dreams, art, mythology, and synchronicity. Every dream, every strange coincidence, is a message waiting to be understood. This is not superstition, it's self-exploration. For the Stoics, self-examination was a daily discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, not for others, but for himself, a journal of reflection, a tool to uncover inner truth. Jung offered another path to that same goal, the analysis of dreams and symbols, to ask not just, what am I feeling, but why? When we listen to the symbols of our inner world, we begin to walk the path of wisdom, a path not outward, but inward. Chapter 4. Individuation, Becoming Who You Are. At the heart of Jung's psychology is the journey toward individuation, becoming yourself in the deepest sense. It's not about self-improvement, it's about self-realization, about shedding the false masks, the persona, and facing the totality of who you really are, light and dark. Stoicism teaches us to live in accordance with nature. For Epictetus, that meant aligning with reason, with virtue, with our highest potential. For Jung, it meant aligning with your inner truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable. Individuation is not a luxury, it's a necessity. In Jung's words, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But this path is not easy. It requires sacrifice, discipline, and a willingness to walk alone, just like the Stoics did. Chapter 5. Emotional Resilience, where psychology meets philosophy. Both Jung and the Stoics understood a deep truth. We suffer not from events, but from our interpretation of events. For the Stoic, it's the judgment that creates distress, not the external situation. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, again and again, that nothing outside the mind can truly harm us. Jung echoed this, though from a psychological lens. When we don't face our inner conflicts, they project onto the world. We blame others, we seek enemies, but the real battle is always internal. The solution? To turn inward, to observe, to understand, to accept. Resilience is not about being unaffected, it's about being unshaken. Chapter 6: Modern Chaos and the Need for Inner Order. Today, we face an epidemic of distraction, anxiety, and emotional overload. Social media fragments our attention, news cycles feed our fear, algorithms hijack our desires. Jung foresaw this. He warned of mass-mindedness, of losing the self in collective noise. He called it the herd instinct, and said that in such times, the individual must take responsibility for their own soul. The Stoics called it autarkeia, self-sufficiency of mind. This is why Jung and Stoicism matter now more than ever, not to escape the world, but to stay grounded in it, to build inner order in a time of outer chaos. Final chapter: The Quiet Revolution. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. Carl Jung. This is the quiet revolution, not one of politics or power, but of personal awakening. It's the path of the philosopher, the seeker, the one who dares to sit in silence and face their own soul. You don't need to become perfect, you only need to become aware. That is where peace begins. That is where strength is forged. That is where clarity emerges. So if the world feels too loud, too fast, too confusing, turn inward, listen, reflect, awaken. This is the Stoic mind. This is the Jungian journey. This is still mind.